Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall we start, Everest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening to all. Today's seminar hosted by Department of Physical Education and Student Council of Government First Aid College, Kavoor. I am very much happy to welcome all the participants, resource person, and moderator. Today we have two sessions. We have two speakers talking about different topics. The first session is nutrition and sports nutrition. The second session is sports and employability. And I would like to welcome all the participants, the professional colleagues, and the moderator. The moderator of the first session is Mr. Everest Rodrigues, Physical Education Director of Government First Aid College, Uppinangadi. Mr. Everest Rodrigues graduated from the reputed institution Saint Philomena College, Puttur, and he did his BPA, MPA in Mysore University with the first rank, and he did his MPhil in Annamalai University, and he is a good athlete and weightlifter. He represented Mangalore University and Mysore University in athletics as well as weightlifting, and also he did his yoga training course. Today he will be the moderator the session. Mr. Everest, I'm very happy to welcome and request you to moderate this session. Over to Mr. Everest Rodrigues.
Thank you, Dr. John Pinto. Good evening to you all. We human beings need many things to develop ourselves as a whole. For our overall development, physical, mental, emotional, social, psychological, etc., we need good environment, clean water, pure air, good food, etc. When we are doing more physical work or exercises, we need extra care or requirements to our body to maintain good health. So we need nutritional food or good diet. To speak on nutritional requirements for exercises, we have an eminent personality from the field of food sciences, Mr. Ashok Kumar C, Assistant Professor, Department of PG Studies and Research in Food Sciences, St. Aloysius College, Mangalore. Mr. Ashok Kumar C hails from Andhra Pradesh. BSc degree from Sri Venkateshwara University, MSc in Food Sciences and Nutrition from Pondicherry Central University, and presently pursuing PhD in Food Science and Technology at Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies. He involved as a student member in 5 pre-doctoral research projects, published 5 research papers, presented 12 poster papers both at national and international conferences. He has awarded with Best Poster Award twice. Worked as a lecturer in Nutrition and Dietetics, Department of Bharat College of Science and Technology, Thanjavur, Tamil Nadu. Worked as a project assistant grade 2, Agro Processing and Nutritional Products Division, National Institute for Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram. Worked as Junior and Senior Research Fellow in Meat and Marine Science Division and Junior Research Fellow in Food Engineering Department, Central Food Technological Research Institute, Mysore, and presently is working as an Assistant Professor in St. Aloysius College, Mangalore in the Department of PG Studies and Research in Food Science. With this brief introduction, on behalf of Government First Aid College, Kavoor, I welcome Mr. Ashok Kumar C and I request him to begin the session. Over to Mr. Ashok Kumar C.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. And sorry for the delay from my side from the beginning. And anyway, we'll start with the session. Today's the topic is for my lecture is sports nutrition and exclusively about nutrition for the sport and exercise. I hope every audience can see the presentation. Anyone can please unmute and tell that.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you very much, sir. Yeah. So, why one thinks about nutrition? every person, they're supposed to nourish their body to gain some energy. And for the daily living routine, you need to have some food, and some food is not the food that is not without nutrients. It must be have the required nutrients that should meet for the daily requirements. But when it comes to a sport or exercise, it is entirely different. As you know, the physical activity is an activity where you will be doing unintentionally any movement in the body, like moving your hand or shaking your leg or anything. Unintentionally it will be happening. That is a kind of physical activity. Generally, whatever work you do, that will be involved with the physical activity. But exercise is entirely different. You are doing intensively or with intention. Some sort of activity you will be doing. So today, before going to speak about the nutrition required for the sport and exercise, I would like to bring to your notice little areas of the areas of your physical education, where you will be knowing about small areas. That is, one is exercise and sport physiology, that has evolved from anatomy and physiology. So the anatomy, the body organs and the structural formation, about that it will be studying. And physiology, the functioning of different organs. And the physiology of sport and exercise, it is combined subject of anatomy and physiology in any way. And homeostasis is the method, like where the body keeps all your organs functioning in a normal manner by maintaining the body temperature and required amount of blood sugar, all this stuff. So how the sports nutrition is related to these subjects? Because whatever you are doing activity, whatever the pressure that you are putting with the psychologically, that is involving in the each and every organ, especially musculoskeletal system of your body. And to nourish the musculoskeletal system, and you need to have a proper food. So only this sports nutrition subject is evolved from past 20 to 30 years. Like last 2 to 3 decades, it has taken immense type of little more attention it is drawn among the physical education people. Okay, so now just before previously I mentioned that the difference between physical activity and exercise is, like, the exercise you will be doing anything intentionally, going to the gym or swimming or running or tennis. Intentionally you are trying to make your body to work or function something. But physical activity is entirely different, like everyday activities, example like shopping, going walking and housework, gardening. So all this, climbing stairs, all these things, normal routine things what you do, that we call it as physical activity to keep yourself fit. And exercise is entirely different. If you are out of fitness, still to bring you into the fit, to maintain your body weight and to increase the weight or to reduce the weight, different type of exercises you will be doing. So all these things are entirely different from the physical activity what you are doing. Okay, and there are different categories of exercise, because the intention to tell about the categories of exercise here is that, because whenever I'm going to speak about the nutritional needs, I'll be speaking with respect to for endurance exercise, this is the need, for strengthening exercise, this is the need, and for stretching and balancing. So that I'll be speaking. So before that, it will be better that if at all I will give a glimpse about what are the different types of categories of exercise that is there. So that the first category of the exercise is endurance type. So where you will be trying to move the body in such a way that, like, to make a more amount of energy will be utilized. So example like dancing, and it will be doing intensively, dancing, swimming, playing tennis, jogging, swift walking, etc. And your strength training is a different type of exercise category, where you will be lifting the weights and you will be focusing only on the developing of the muscles and stamina and performance in your performance type of exercises. That comes under the strength exercises. And the flexibility is shoulder and upper arm stretches and yoga and calf stretches, like where you will be trying to make up your all the joints to move properly and to be flexible for doing the daily basic needs or for the daily physical activity. And the balance type of exercises, this category exercise will be given as a kind of training for the people, for the athletes who are after post trauma. For example, if an athlete has injured in any game, and after that 3 or 4 months he has taken bed rest, then when he started coming back to the game, then first it will be starting with the balance exercises, because whichever part has got, for example, leg injury is there, then that is starting with the balancing with the leg. And then not only for the athletes who are in the post trauma stage, and for the old people also who just want to maintain their body fitness properly, for them also balance exercise is one of the important thing after 65-70 years. So heel to toe walking and standing on one foot and sitting down on a chair and standing up without using any hands and all. So these are the exercises which will be looking for the balance of the body, so to make the trunk motion properly of any body. Okay, so what is nutrition that is required for the sports and exercise? So anyone, when you start thinking about a healthy eating, and having a healthy eating, good healthy eating habits, along with good sports nutrition, like having some required sports drinks, like which is rich in minerals and the vitamins, which are, and some fluids of prepared exclusively for the sports personals, which will maintain the hydration levels in the body. So that will keep you always best, and you can perform at your best. So not only your practice, what you do, and the habits and the food what you consume during the and not only the food, and along with the fluids also during the game or post game for the recovery purpose, and before the exercise or before the game. Okay. So, and what is the benefits if at all you eat well for the physical activity and so on, what kind of benefits that you will gain? So absolutely, that is that it will allow you to perform well in whichever area or whichever sports that you are chosen, and that reduces the risk of injury and the illness. And the third thing is that it ensures the best recovery after the exercise or a training program. So here we'll speak about what kind of food that you will eat. But basically, the food is divided into two major parts, that is macronutrients and the micronutrients. The macronutrients, we speak about carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. So in the next slides, I'll speak about what amount of carbohydrate that you are supposed to eat, and what is the amount of protein and fat that you are supposed to eat during the game and before the game or after the game, and what is the role of micronutrients in your in the increasing the performance and all, and little bit about, I'll speak about ergogenic aids. Okay, so here the macronutrients, when it comes to the picture, so many people, they think eating carbohydrates may be bad thing, but actually for a sports personal or athlete, you have to start loading up with the carbohydrates rather than the protein, because this myth is there among many young sports personals, especially who are doing master in physical education or bachelor in physical education, or a physical education as a subject, or our graduate students. So these students is having that sort of one thing in their mind, saying that protein is very much important, so that we'll get the muscle. People think that just muscle is enough for giving the energy. No, actually the first type of energy fuel that is using in the body is carbohydrates. When a sprinter, he starts like running also, first in your body, the calories in the form of whatever the carbohydrates that is stored in the form of glycogen, so that is breaking down, and that is giving the energy for you. So after a certain time, once that after 90 minutes, for example, say after 90 minutes of workout, okay, then later on, then the other fuel ingredients will come into the picture, and then they start burning, and they will be giving the energy. So one must think about at least 60% of their diet must be covered up with the carbohydrates. So where you have to load up the carbohydrates, so that makes the better performance. And micronutrients, many people actually neglect, but when you are consuming your protein sources along with like meat, lean meat, when you are consuming, along with that you will get B complex vitamins also. At the same time, when you are consuming with some other any other protein rich foods, especially like fish and all, you will be getting all sort of vitamins and required minerals also, like calcium, magnesium, and potassium and all. So why these minerals is required for you? Minerals are actually required for you to maintain your electrolyte balance. So what will happen to electrolyte balance is that, again, when you start playing a game, after end of the sport, you will be getting like during the sport, you'll be getting completely sweated. So with the sweat, you will be losing your chlorides and sodium also. Okay, so the sweat actually keeps your body to not to get any hot illness, that heat illness. But at the same time, when the sweat is coming out, your minerals also going out. So the calcium and potassium and sodium, these minerals are actually they're there in the neurotransmitter pumps as well as in the muscle contraction also. So when it is coming to picture over there, the muscle contraction will be getting affected by the sodium and potassium loss, and sodium and chlorides and potassium, all these minerals loss. So to recover that, how much amount of vitamins and minerals that you are supposed to consume. That is also one important ingredients. Without that, you cannot perform. That they provide energy is better thing than the before exercise. Okay, after the exercise, for the recovery purpose, that time you need the muscle recovery will be happening 24 hours actually to say. So that for that you need casein you need, and whey isolate also required. With the protein resources like milk example, you will get good amount of whey for instant muscle recovery, and you'll get again casein protein, which will be required for the continuous like long-term muscle recovery also. So here the carbohydrate, how it is becoming as a Q fuel for the muscles is, that is, carbohydrates are stored in the form of glycogen in the muscles, and so essentially the muscles, when it starts for the movement, the fuel from the carbohydrates. So what the carbohydrate will be in the form of complex carbohydrate, that is glycogen. So that glycogen is breakdown into glucose, fructose, and galactose based on the central molecule how it was formed, and that fuel will be utilized. And after your any sport event, you have to come back and you have to load the carbohydrates, that is replacement of depleted glucose from the muscles and the liver and the blood. So that is 2 to 4 hours after the exercise. So when we speak about the glycogen is the main source for the energy at the start of exercise and during the short burst of exercise also. So when you don't have the glycogen in your body, so that gives some sort of signs, that is some symptoms. The depletion of glycogen will sometimes symptoms, that is like light headache, lightheadedness and dizziness and hallucinations and heavy leg sensation. So these sensations, whenever you see, then you have any sports person or athlete that they're supposed to load a little simple carbohydrates to them into the body, so that particular carbohydrates will be given instantly energy for the requirement thing. But the glycogen loading up will be glycogen formation supposed to be there means, for example, you are doing a marathon. In the initial time when you are doing when you are moving forward, at least for some time you need stored energy. So instantly you don't get any energy. Okay. So in between you will be taking through the drinks and all, whatever the sports drinks. So with that you will get energy again. But initially the glycogen stores is required. There itself your performance will vary with the other athlete who is properly well balanced with the nutrition. So load up on the complex carbohydrates, fluids, proteins, and fats before, during, and after your workout. So that makes you proper exercise for any person, as well as proper performance it will deliver during the sport event also. And how much amount that is supposed to be taken. So International Olympics Committee in 2012, they have given some recommendations about how much amount of carbohydrates that will be needed depend on the intensity of and the duration of the exercise for the session. So here they have mentioned about the light intensity of activity. You will be taking, they're recommended 3 to 5 grams of per kg body weight per day. So that means a person who is around 70 kgs, he required 70 kgs. 70 kgs, he required around 210 grams of protein, that is minimum, and the carbohydrate, and the maximum is 350 grams. So that is per kg of body weight you are taking. Okay, per kg of body weight 3 to 5 grams for the light intensity activity. And moderate intensity activity, for that you need 5 to 7 grams of carbohydrate per kg of body weight. And high intensity like endurance programs, for that you need around 6 to 10 grams of carbohydrate per kg of body weight. And very high intensity programs, example like high intensity interval training, or maybe interval circuit training. So this kind of very extreme intensity activities, for that you need around 8 to 12 grams of carbohydrate per kg of body weight. That means a 70 kgs weight body person, if at all he is doing an very high intensity activity, then he need around 560 grams of carbohydrate is required as a minimum amount. I hope I am clear at this point. Am I clear? Any audience, any clarification you required? For the calculation, you need to just calculate 1 kg of body is required 8 grams of carbohydrate. So that you multiply with the body weight, that's all. You will get minimum and the maximum also. Anyone required any clarification so far?
No, continue, sir. Continue. Yes.
Okay. I assume there is no clarification required. Okay.
Yeah. Any clarification will end of the class, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. So then I am telling you to load up the carbohydrates. So what are the tips how you can load to the how you can load the carbohydrates? So there are few tips are there, like carbohydrate loading for 3 to 4 days before an event can help you top up your glycogen stores. That's the best thing. Before 3 to 4 days, you increase your carbohydrate content in your diet before 3 to 4 days of any event, the sport event. And eat a diet that goes about 70% of its calories from the carbohydrates, including bread, cereals like rice, wheat, all the cereals, and millets also, and fruits and vegetables to achieve the maximum carbohydrate storage. So on the day of any event, eat your last meal before 3 to 4 hours before exercising to give your stomach time to empty. This is a basic, very much important thing. There is in your stomach, the food transit time is there. The food transit time is 1 to 2 hours only, but digestion time is 3 to 4 hours. So you have to clear the digestion path, and the food has to go into the intestine area, not in the stomach area. So when it will be there in the stomach area, it will be affecting again your performance. So before 3 to 4 hours, you have to before last meal you have to finish before exercising. And avoid eating sugary or starchy foods within 30 minutes of starting an activity. They can speed up dehydration. So what will happen here is that the moment you eat the sugar syrups or any starchy foods before 30 minutes of the event, so the blood glucose levels will be elevated. So the elevated blood glucose levels that lead for the dehydration also. So and replenish the carbohydrates with minerals and water during the long exercise session. Eat a snack and drink a fluid, that is every 15 to 20 minutes, if at all you are doing more than 90 minutes exercise. Okay, more than 90-minute exercise I'm talking about. Okay, and many athletes prefer the sports bar and sports drinks and any other type of gels and all to get the instant energy and all. Among that, but fruit juices and the fresh fruits also has given similar type of results only in the research. Okay. And reload on carbohydrates after the intensive exercise too, since you don't need to quick energy. So it's best to choose the less glycemic index carbohydrates. That means less refined carbohydrates, which will slowly digest. For example, like whole grains, vegetables, so which can provide both carbohydrates and rich array of the nutrients also. That is after the event. Okay? So protein. The moment protein says, almost all the athletes, the moment when we say about the protein, they will look for the milk, because from the ancient days they said like milk is the better food after any sports event. That is because of milk is having whey protein as well as casein protein. The whey protein isolates will be involving in the immediate recovery of the muscles. Okay, and the casein proteins will be involved in the lateral recovery of the proteins. So that lateral recovery of the muscles, for that reason, if at all you take the milk, that's the best option after the event. Okay, so when someone says that take the milk, protein shake after the event, whey protein shake or some other protein shake and all, instead of that supplements, directly you can take the raw milk or the fresh and pure milk. And protein can boost the glycogen storage, and that reduces the muscle soreness and promote the muscular repair. And protein doesn't provide a lot of fuel for the energy. That's what I said in the beginning also. The energy you will get from the carbohydrate, not from the protein. So, but you need it to maintain your muscles. So the protein is very much required to maintain your muscles. And getting too much of protein can also, there is possibility that it will put a strain on your kidneys. And instead of protein supplements, eat high quality proteins such as lean meats, fish, poultry, nuts, beans, eggs, and milk, etc. And how much amount of protein that you are supposed to take. For example, you are an ideal and sedentary person, or maybe that you need only 0.8 grams per kg of body weight for normal people. And who is a recreational athletes, that is only in weekends or maybe sometimes they'll play, and also for them it is 1.1 to 1.4 grams per kg of body weight it is required. And for the endurance people, 1.2 to 1.4, and for strength and power athletes, it is required 1.2 to 1.7 grams per kg of body weight. So that means a person who is doing with the strength and power athletes, a weight of 50 kgs, they require around 60 grams minimum. That is minimum is 60 grams of protein per day. And the fats, there is no specific value for how much amount of grams of fats that you are supposed to take per kg of body weight. That is not recommended, because among the people they consume different varieties of the food. So in that food itself, you will get almost different required amount of the fat for the athlete. For example, to gain the weight and all, to take up a little amount of fat, that is fine. But for the athletes, they are not looking for the gaining the weight. They are trying to improve the performance. So any sport person or during the exercise time also, you are trying to improve the performance or improve your strength and all. So whatever food you eat, in that food, a little amount of fat also will be mixed. That fat itself is enough for doing the regular needs of the required doing the needs of the exercise or any sport. So for long events such as marathons, your body turns to fat for energy when carbohydrate sources are runs low. So after before the marathon event, if at all if consume less amount of fats also, that is not going to affect, because in the long run your body may be completely depleted out of the carbohydrates. Then it will look for the energy fuel as a fats only. And most athletes get all the most unsaturated fat from the foods such as nuts and avocados, olive oils and vegetable oils, and fatty fishes like salmons and tuna. And the best thing is to avoid the fatty foods on the day of an event, because sometimes it may cause the stomach upset also. And how you can consume that? So as I said in the beginning, it will minimize the saturated fats and maximize the unsaturated fats. So saturated fats examples I'll give you: animal meats, eggs, fried foods, butter, snacks, chips, and processed and baked goods. But minimum amount, like maximum saturated unsaturated fat is there in the food products like fish, nuts, beans, olive oils, canola oils, peanuts, and sunflower oils, etc. So fat is energy. That fat itself will give energy for the long drives, and that will drive the activity. And for more intense workout also, you need some amount of the fat also once the carbohydrates is depleted from the body. And when in your diet, as per regular dietary guidelines for an athlete, you should get a minimum 15% of the daily caloric intake. So that is recommended. It is recommended for some athletes up to 20 to 25% also. And deficiency of the fats, that also impairs the performance on the recovery. And fat also regulates the inflammation in the body. And the micronutrients, when we speak about the micronutrients, everyone knows that micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. Around 13 vitamins and more than 10 to 15 minerals that plays a major role in a person's intense activity or in any normal physical sport activity. For example, I'm just giving a glimpse about the vitamins and minerals over here, especially vitamins and minerals together. In the second image, you can see either you low intake of the vitamins and minerals or increase the loss of vitamins and minerals in the body, that leads for the reduced nutritional status. So reduced nutritional status of vitamins and micronutrients, that leads for the substantial subclinical deficiency of riboflavin, iron, magnesium, and zinc. So that result in loss in endurance and reducing the time to fatigue, and work efficiency also will be reduced, and heart rate will be increased, and ventilation will be increased, and work capacity will be reduced, and strength will be reduced. So that put effect on the training will be reduced. Time to recovery is required more. So that leads for the reduction in the performance. So ultimately, I just want to mention it that reducing nutritional status of micronutrients, that leads for the reduction in the performance of any sports person or an athlete. So another important aspect is, like we spoke about the macronutrients and micronutrients. Among the after that, the most important thing is the fluids and the hydration of the body of an athlete. So dehydration is not only negatively alters the performance, but also causes serious complications also. Dehydration of 1 to 2% of the body weight negatively influences the performance, and the dehydration of a greater than 3% that decreases the physical function and increases the athlete's risk for developing heat illness or worse also. So how you can identify dehydration, that you can see in your right side pictures over there. So urine color chart is the best thing that was given from the American Sports Nutrition Association. So what they speaks about is overhydrated, that will be the color of the urine is a pale yellow color, and dehydrated it will be like yellow color, slight yellow to dark yellow color, and extremely dehydrated will be dark yellow color to completely little black color, black or red color. So at that situation, extremely dehydrated, that you are supposed to meet the doctor. So what will happen in your body weight? For example, water loss as a percent of the, for example, in your body weight, 2% of the body weight. For example, you are 100 kg person, and that is 2 kgs of water if you lose from the body. So what will happen? Impaired thermoregulatory ability will be there, and 4% if you lose, reduce in the muscular endurance and time, and more than 6% that reduces the muscular strength and reduced endurance time and heat cramps, and more than 8% that leads for the death also sometimes, coma and death, and several severe heat cramps and death also. So then you can understand that how much amount that amount of water that you can lose. Maximum is 4% of the water you can lose from the body. And like when intense exercise is combined with the elevated temperatures or restricted heat loss, core temperature may be raised 2 to 3 degrees centigrade in the body also, and it also result in the exceptional heat illness. That body temperature will be increased, and that leads to the dehydration again. And most studies agree the total water intake should be approximately in the 3 liters range, that above 3 liter and below 3 liter. Each pound of weight loss during the exercise, that represents the 1 pint, that is 500 ml of fluid loss. So along with the fluid, the water only. So the electrolyte imbalance that leads for the, again, muscle cramps and heart attacks also. And at the same time, it will also result in the body external and internal body fluid differences also it will create. So that also will be another cause for the death and inflammation also. And why we are speaking about the water, that is more important, because water in the body is around, the brain is 75% of water it is formed, and the blood is made up of 83% of the blood is with water only. And the body in the body, the water helps to regulate the body temperature, and kidneys required more and more amount of water to remove the waste from the body, and bones are 22% of water, and your cartilage water aids the cushioning joints between the bones, and the lungs also, in the lungs water will be the form of moisture, and stomach, that water helps to convert the food into the energy, and intestine, the water is required to reabsorption, and muscles are 75% of water only again. So now how to drink and how much amount of fluids that should be balanced during and after the any run. I'm just giving an example for the running. So here it is like 2 to 3 hours before of running, that is endurance activity. Running we spoke about as an under endurance program. So before endurance activity of 2 to 3 hours, you should drink 2 to 3 cups of water. 1 cup here is measured for 250 ml. Okay, so 1 cup is measured for 250 ml. And 30 minutes before the run, that is 1 cup of water. And every 15 minutes during the run, like marathon type, then you have to drink every 15 minutes half cup of the water. And immediately after the run, again 2 cups of the water you must drink. So that in that way you can prevent your body from the dehydration. And ergogenic aid, the performance of the person, those aids. So there are many supplements are there, and with documented timings and benefits also, and chronic supplements with the documented timing benefits also is there. And there are some supplements with mostly unexplored but potential timing effects are there. So here you can see I have given about the caffeine, nitrates, and creatine, iron, beta-alanine, calcium, and sodium bicarbonate. So among these things, caffeine mostly many people may be knowing, and iron also may be knowing. Iron, you can see that during the doping people can use that erythropoietin, that is an enzyme which will increase the blood cell production in the body. So that is a blood doping. Under blood doping you can see that. So that if at all erythropoietin you have taken, your RBC will be increasing. The RBC is increasing means more amount of iron is there in the body. That iron will be holding more amount of oxygen. So in that way you can improve your performance. So instead of that, directly you can consume iron also. So that in the blood doping they will do like with erythropoietin, but directly consumption of iron is the one way, like increased endurance performance via increasing the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. The dosage is 100 milligrams per day. It is iron, and timing is for the 3 to 6 weeks. And creatine is another thing, that is where it gives the benefit by increasing the high intensity exercise capacity, muscle mass, and strength via increasing the phosphocreatine and ATP synthesis system. That is, phosphocreatine and ATP synthesis system is one system among the 3 systems for the energy production in the body. And the absolute dose is 5 grams per day, and relative dose is 0.1 gram per kg of body weight per day. And caffeine is the most known thing among all these caffeine and the calcium among all whatever mentioned over here, the ergogenic aids. So caffeine, you may be knowing that about caffeine is there for and all. So that increases the performance via fat utilization, increasing the fat utilization and mental drive, force production and muscle endurance, and reduces the perceived fatigue. And absolute dose is 300 to 500 milligrams, and relative dose is 3 to 6 milligrams per kg of body weight. And timing is between 0 to 1 hour pre-exercise. And nitrates and the important ergogenic aids. What nitrates, they intermittent exercise performed by increasing the flow and muscle contractility. And calcium increases the bone resistance and the muscle contraction efficiency by increasing the bone density and reducing the parathyroid hormone effect on the bones. And calcium is required around 1000 international units per day, and that is before pre-exercise, 60 minutes pre-exercise. If you consume the calcium, so that gives even better results in the exercise. And sodium bicarbonate is that benefits by increasing the high intensity and repeated high intensity exercise performances via decreasing the muscle acidosis. And that dose is 0.3 grams per kg of body mass. And before exercise, 1 to 3 hours you can consume. And for multiple days leading up for the competitions also, before the competition. And what you can at the end of the day, sir, you spoke this many things. What we can consume during the different types of trainings, like moderate training and easy training and hard training. Here you can see that. So during the easy training, or there is weight management training program, you can restrict your fat to 1 to 3 tablespoons, and moderate your fat should be only 1 teaspoon. And hard training, again 2 to 3 teaspoons you can take the fat. So here you can observe that the more amount of the carbohydrates is given for the person for the weight management, and whole grains and fruits and vegetables are having taken major portion, and lean protein is there. Only what we have done is we have reduced the fats, and we have added the oils, healthy oils, and that is unsaturated oils, and then more amount of the fluids that we have given. And in case of moderate training, fat is reduced, and the grains and fruits and vegetables that were taken as similar to the easy training, or that is weight management training, which is completely changed in case of hard training. Hard training, you are loaded with more amount of lean protein, that is around say 50% of grains that you have consumed from the whole plate. Grains and fruits and vegetables you have taken around 25%, another 25% you have consumed as a lean protein. And the fats also you have added more than the carbohydrates is divided so fat is utilized for the source of the energy. And fitness and nutrition go hand in hand all the time. Thank you very much for listening, and happy to take your questions.
Yeah, Everest.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for your informative talk. There is a question in the chat box. What are the quick and main source of carbohydrate?
Quick and main source of carbohydrate is simple sugars. Best thing is any fruit juices, like your even banana also is a quick source only. And your fruit juices, like any citrus fruit juices, or your what is that? Eggs with the carbohydrates, like cereal bars. That is also a quick source.
Yes.
Best thing is banana for our sports personnel, whoever is here, for them it is banana.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. How are the various grains, sprouts, or like the sweet potato or beetroot like this? Can be used?
Sorry, I'm speaking about first sprouts, sir. Then you ask me one more thing, okay?
Okay,
Sprouts is a simple carbohydrates after the process of germination. But the thing is, it will be having, again, it is coming from the legumes. It will be having anti-nutritional factors, which will allow to that been reduced after during the germination period, but still some loss of mineral absorption will be there in the body. So if you take the sprouts, surely you will be what is that called? You will be little comprising the amount of micronutrients, that is especially the minerals. Only
yes, sir.
when it is required, a vegetarian person who cannot take the lean meat, then they can go for the sprouts as a protein source, not as a vitamin and mineral source.
Okay, sir. Other sweet potato or beetroot like this?
Sweet potato and beetroot. Beetroot you can take for the antioxidants and the vitamins, not for the carbohydrate source, because the carbohydrates in the beetroot and as well as sweet potato, it will be in the complex form, it will be in the polysaccharide form. So foods lead sometimes for the dehydration taken before the 30 minutes of the game. If at all you take 3 to 4 days before the event, that is fine again.
Okay, sir.
Before 3 to 4 days of event, sweet potato and your beetroot is fine, but not before exactly 1 hour or 2 hours or 30 minutes before the event.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. So thank you very much, sir, for your information talk. So
Any other queries, sir, among them?
no, sir. Yes, sir.
So I will leave you my email ID here, and if
Okay,
anyone has any other queries to ask me, you can just post over there. I will reply to you people. I am very happy to take the questions, and thank you for the opportunity for the government first grade college Kavoor and Joseph Pinto, sir, and Principal Tararao, madam. Thank you very much. I hope
Yes.
you are happy with the session. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So
And you
I
can
take this.
email me at this email ID.
Okay, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. So I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Tara Rao, Principal, Government First Aid College, Kavoor, Dr. John Pinto, Physical Director, and his team for giving me an opportunity to be the moderator of this session. Thank you. Thank you all. Over to John Pinto.
Thank you very much, Mr. Everest Rodrigues, for your wonderful moderating. And I thank this resource person, the first session, Mr. Ashok Kumar, a very informative session, and a lot of insight has given to us. Thank you so much for all your endeavor. And now we have a second session. Mr. Seseppa will be the moderator of the session, and we have a resource person, Dr. Jaya Shetty. Now I would like to introduce today's moderator, Mr. Seseppa Gowda,
Thank you, sir.
Physical Education Director of Government First Aid College, Puttur. Mr. Seseppa Gowda graduated from Vivekananda College, Puttur, and he is a qualified NIS coach in athletics, and he served as athletic coach in a youth service department of Karnataka government. And since 1999, he is working as a physical director from government college, different government colleges. At present, he is working in Puttur. He is a good athlete, represented Mangalore University, and a good friend of mine also. So I very much happy to invite him and requesting him to moderate the second session. So welcome, Mr. Seseppa Gowda, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. John Pinto. Good evening to all. In this second session of webinar, we have an eminent scholar working as an associate professor in economics, SDM College, Autonomous College, Ujjire, is going to deliver talk on sports and employability. Is none other than Dr. Jaya Kumar Shetty, an experienced professor, contributed many laurels to SDM College, Ujjire, as well as Mangalore University. He has been a recognized guide from the Kannada University, Hampi, and Tumkur University. He has completed 3 minor research projects under UGC, served as a chairman of IQAC Cell, SDM College, Ujjire, and Dean, Humanity Department, and chairman, BOS, Mangalore University during the year 1999 to 2004. Published several books in economics for undergraduates. During his days, he has awarded Best NSS Officer and Best President Award in Rotary. Published more than 49 research papers and articles and journals in national and international level. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of Government College, Kavoor, Department of Physical Education. And now over to Dr. Jaya Kumar, deliver sports and employability. So,
thank you, Professor Seseppa Gowda.
thank you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Most respected Dr. Pinto, sir, and fellow participants. It gives me immense pleasure to share few of my thoughts, though I am not found in the playground very often. See, when Pinto sir asked me to speak on employability, sports and all, really it is a very interesting subject, because good number of my students are in high position today. They are in high position mainly because of the sports, the time which they have spent in the sports ground. See, I just want to make a presentation on the Indian education system and the need for making sports as a part of curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, today India is considered as the second largest populated country, and we consider population as a human resource. And you may be knowing that population cannot be the human resource if it is not contributing to the economic development. Recent study shows that only 46% of our youth are employable. See, this is very hurting aspect. See, India is the youth economy, a largest young economy. When most of the countries are graying economies, our economy is considered as a young economy. Mere by possessing youth population, we are not able to contribute to the economic development. I am just reminded of a good old story. A Pandit, somebody is sharing. A Pandit, I think I am audible, sir. Pinto sir, I am audible.
Yeah, you're audible. Carry on, sir.
Yes, yes. I'm just reminded of a story of a Pandit who was just crossing river Ganges in a boat. He asked his fellow travelers, because he was very proud of his education, his qualification and all. He asked his fellow travelers, do you know anything about Vedanta? They said, no sir, no sir. And do you know anything about Ramayana? He said, no. Then he said, you have not studied these things, your life is waste. In another 5 minutes, a big storm came, and this boatman asked, sir, do you know swimming? This Pandit said, no, I don't know swimming. So he lost his life. So what is important is our education should help us to get necessary job. It should help us to get the bread what we need. Whether our education is providing enough to eat, that is the big question mark. So in my presentation, just I'll start my presentation with your kind permission. Sir Pinto sir, can you see this?
Yes, sir. Very clear.
Carry on, sir.
Thank you. So, I am speaking on the topic sports and employability. Because in India, we always speak of the problem of unemployment. But today, it is not the problem of unemployment that is important. It is the problem of employability. Because a study says that only 46% of our educated youth are employable. That means remaining 54% are not employable because they don't have necessary skill to get necessary employment. So in this context, I just my presentation in 6 parts. One is the matter of concern. The second part, I'm just presenting before you the context of the issue. The third part, just I'll present you Indian higher education system. And number 4 is educational mission. And the 5th part, sports and employability skills, and with concluding remarks. What is the matter of concern? It is not the problem of unemployment, but it is the problem of employability. There is a skill gap. Our youth do not have the skill which employers are expecting from our students. Already I told you that only 46% of the students are job ready. That means 54% are not job ready. See, a study has been made way back in 2014, wherein they said only 33.95% of the students are job ready because they are employable. But now, after 6 years, only 46% are employable. Very interestingly, the study made by ISR, that is India Skill Report 2020, conducted by Confederation of Indian Industry, it says that the students of BE, only 49% are employable. Students of MBA, 54% are employable, and BA, 48% are employable, BCom 47%, BSc 34%. Very interestingly, in the common, that is BA, BSc, BCom, the BA students are more employable. 48% of the students are employable. I think it is mainly because of the extracurricular activities in which our BA students are involved. I think it is a further area for research. Now coming to the issue, our youth need to have contemporary ask. What is that? Attitude, skill, and knowledge. Way back in 1980s, we used to say, if a student scores first class, he is employable. Knowledge component. But now, emphasis is placed on attitude and skill component. We know that the rapid rise of knowledge-based economies has revolutionized the perceptions and practices of global business. Now, they say either be the agent of change or you will be the object of change. 21st century skills are a broad set of knowledge, skill, work habits, and character traits. What is required today is reading and reproducing is not at all important. In the good old days, if a student is able to recite what a teacher has told, he is considered to be the best student. But today, we don't want such students. We don't say if a student is able to reproduce, he is the best student. What is important is he able to demonstrate the skills? And that too, 21st century skills are collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity. Definitely, the learning situation is provided in the playground, not inside the 4 walls of the classroom. My dear friends, you might have enjoyed this story of wise crow. Today, we don't accept this crow as the wise crow. The wise crow is not this crow, the crow which is very smart. Why to use pebbles now when a straw is available? So what is required is we need to look around and we need to equip our students with the skills which are employable or which are the requirements of the society. So we need to change the story also. See, earlier we used to say a generation means 30 years. Now it is wrong. It is not even 6 years. Even in 6 years, one generation changes, because this is the era of invention and innovation. Thus, the skills which were considered to be core skills in 2015, now in 2020, we say they are not the skills required. Our students need some other kinds of skills, which I will tell you later on. It is rightly said that in business, you cannot do business today by applying yesterday's methods. Definitely, you cannot do today's job with yesterday's methods and be in business today. We know that Oxford study information says that 47% of all jobs are said to disappear within 20 years. Another information is 40% of the jobs that may be created in another 15 years are unheard today. That means we need to prepare our youth for the jobs which are not known today. A small child entering to lower KG today, we don't know after 15 years what kind of job it may get. Or we teachers are also not aware that for what job we are preparing our students. So present day challenge is preparing the child for the world that doesn't yet exist. So we are currently preparing students for jobs that don't exist today, exist now. Now, let us look back. I joined the service as teacher way back in 1985. I consider it as a golden age for teachers, because just going to the class with the class notes, talking for 15 or 20 minutes, students used to cry, "Sir, notes." Then we used to dictate notes, and we used to be the dictators. By 1995, it was the era of documentation. Some questions of NAC, student progression. So we wanted to focus on teaching, learning, evaluation, extension, research, etc. Beautification of the college, more books to the library. We thought that is improving the quality of the students. By 2005, quality initiatives were given prominence. NAC asked us, "Where are your students now?" Earlier, we were bothering about the students as long as they were in the college. But NAC was asking where your students are now, where they are placed. 2015 came, empower the students. You need to go beyond the syllabus. You should get the feedback from the employers. Employers said, your students are not befitting to our jobs. So the problem of employability came, the problem of skill gap appeared, and now in 2020, teaching and learning within four walls is not at all effective. We need to create a learning environment where students are able to learn teamwork. Definitely, they can acquire this skill in the playground, not inside the four walls of the classroom. We cannot teach teamwork by using chalk or board or by delivering lecture, but by encouraging students to engage themselves in extracurricular activities, particularly in sports. They can acquire the skills of teamwork, collaborative work, my dear friends. So today, the employers want people to work in teams. So when we work in teams, that will increase the efficiency, that will increase the flexibility, that will increase the opportunity, that will give healthy environment, that will make the employer more responsible, that will encourage creativity. All these things can be imbibed in young minds not through teaching, my dear friends. Now coming to the context. Degrees, please note that degrees in humanities is the only passport to job for majority of youth in India. Only minority can go to, minority who are academically very sound or financially very rich, they can go to professional courses. Majority of the students, they come to general education, it is university education, BA, BSc, BCom. So they are coming to these because of helplessness, is not because of helplessness, because of number of constraints. Majority of youth, they come to degree level. And number two is there is rapid structural transformation. From production, from the secondary sector, emphasis is placed on services sector, and the services sector focusing on customer satisfaction. So at the workplace, one should understand the feelings of the customers and be able to positively respond to the requirements of the business. And number three, all of us know that India is the second largest populated country, where majority 60% of the people are young people, where majority of the nations of the world are having gray-haired people. Here we have young people, youth people, and the whole world is looking at India. And in another 10 years, India will be the third, the largest country with regard to gross domestic product, and also to encash the demographic dividend. Mere youth will not contribute to economic prosperity unless and until they are employed. Generally, we say development is a process of optimal utilization of available resources. If human resources are not optimally utilized, naturally, we cannot expedite our economy. In this context, to reap the demographic dividend, a small period of window of demographic dividend, our youth need to acquire global competence. Today, majority of the countries, they face acute shortage of labor, but India has a surplus labor. But this surplus labor can be employed provided they have global competence. So we need to prepare our youth for modern jobs, prepare the youth for unknown challenges. But whether our education system is ready to impart modern 21st century skills to our youth, so that can we make them more employable. We know that higher education is the key to make India a developed nation. And in the educational front, yes, we have a glorious past. But today, the challenge is employers say the students coming out of our higher education institutions are not employable. They are not equipped with necessary skills. On the other hand, population is growing and we are targeting at a 30% gross enrollment ratio. Structural changes are taking place in our economy. We need to reap demographic dividend, but there is challenge of quality. Can education confined to 4 walls can impart necessary skills? What is the employment outcome of our graduates? So we need to think radically and move forward. So India in another 10 years has to become third largest economy. We have large force, labor force, but this labor force need to be converted into more productive. My dear friends, what is the mission of the education? Swami Vivekananda rightly said, education is manifestation of perfection already in man. What we have to do in the education, we need to provide a congenial atmosphere where a student's capability will grow. And today we believe that if a student is involved in an extracurricular activity, most importantly sports, that will impart, that will enable him to acquire contemporary skill. Please remember, we cannot impart skills. A student has to acquire the skills by involving himself actively in curricular and extracurricular activities. But there is a misconception. In sports, if he participates at state level or national level or in the winning team, then only sports will benefit him. It is wrong. Just to look at various studies. The studies say those students who are actively involved in, who were active in sports during their high school days and college days, they might not have represented university, they might not have represented the state or nation, but they do well in their jobs. Students become involved in extracurricular activities, not for entertainment, not for social or enjoyment purposes, but most important is to gain and improve the skills. It is according to Alexander Rastin in his article in 1993, he says that students gain, they improve skills. Almost any type of student involvement in college positively affects student learning and development. Extracurricular activities will provide an opportunity for students to involve, to interact with other students, thus leading to increased learning and enhanced development. We know that today, individually, we cannot accomplish the target. But by working together, we know that today self-help group has become a successful model of empowerment. Why? Because of group solidarity, peer pressure, etc. Similarly, students, when they participate in the group games, they learn to negotiate, they learn to communicate, they learn to manage conflict, they learn to lead others. Taking part in these out of the classroom activities help them to understand the importance of critical thinking skills, time management, academic and intellectual experience. We know that it also helps students to achieve socially or student interaction like relationship formation and discussion, which are very essential for collaborative work, which is the need of the hour. A student working outside the classroom with diverse groups of individuals allows them to gain more self-confidence, autonomy, appreciation of others' differences, similarities, which is the need of the hour. I have told you that there is a misconception. A student should take part at the national level or international level. Yes, that is necessary for getting athletic scholarships or getting a job in sports quota. But today, all employers are looking for students and graduates who have a wide range of skills, personal qualities, experiences, which will help them to be productive in the workplace and extracurricular activities provide a chance to the students to develop all these skills. Now coming to the fifth point, sports developing employability skills for the future jobs. This is not my statement. This is a statement of World Economic Forum, which I am going to present you just now. What is the employability challenge? Employability challenge is the students if they are academically sound, just if they acquire knowledge and reproduce the knowledge, that is not sufficient. Bookish knowledge is not sufficient and it will not equip them to be employable. So employability means you should have certain skills which are necessary to carry out any job. You know that there is no permanent job. Jobs will change. I have told you that 40% of the jobs that may be generated in the next 15 years is not heard. That means in the present day, the jobs also keep on changing. So in the college, we cannot train a student for a specific job. A student may join for a job now, and after 10 years, he may have to take up another challenge which he might not have learned. For example, during our college days, we never studied computers, but COVID compelled us to make use of computers, make use of Google platform, and so we have webinars today. Seminars are replaced by webinars. So we need to equip ourselves. We must be more adaptable. So what is employability challenge is whether our youth are adaptable, whether they are able to acquire required skill, and engagement in sports is an added value. A student involved or actively participated in sports means definitely, unknowingly, he will be exposed to number of learning situations which will enable him to acquire the skill. Definitely, we can develop the skills. We can develop the skills. We cannot teach the skills. We can create an environment where a student by participation can acquire the skill. We know what is employability. A student, a youth having necessary skills, and the skill framework itself is changing from time to time. You know, today, degree not at all sufficient to get the job. So, what is the challenge of the new era? I'll come to that point. So one is employability challenge. I told you this point. I told you development skill, employability also. So today, sports can build social and emotional attributes. Now coming to the most important point, we speak of sustainable development goals. UN has come with sustainable development goals, the agenda for 2030. We want to achieve that. It says that the UN General Assembly transforming our world, the 2030 agenda for sustainable development announced on 21st October 2015 says that sports is making a contribution to the realization of peace and development, promoting tolerance and respect, encourage empowerment of women and youth, contribute to health, education, and social inclusion objectives. It says that SDG 3, good health and well-being, can be attained through sports. Quality education, once again, SDG 4, gender equity, decent work and economic growth, sustainable cities and communities, peace, justice, strong institutions, partnership for the goals. All these SDGs can be attained through sports. So, OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and the International Labour Organization, it says that sports is a useful means of teaching those in education core employability skills in an informal set outside the classroom. That means the modern 21st century core employability skills can be taught outside the classroom. So young people who participate in sports are often found to be more successful. Just see, in 2015, the World Economic Forum, it has enlisted 10 important core employable skills. In 2020, within 5 years, it has reshuffled, and it has listed 10 employability skills. Here we find 35% change in the core skills that are required in the workforce just in 5-year time. That means the 10 core skills projected by the World Economic Forum to become important by 2020 can all be developed through participation in sport, either as a player or as a young sports leader. We say modern the core skill required is problem solving, ability to find a solution to difficult or complex issues. Well, players need to make choices in games or competitions that help them in their performance of the teams. Number 2 is critical thinking. Players learn from their experiences on the sports field by reviewing their performances very often and apply their learning to new situations. The third core skill required is creativity, the ability to transcend traditional thinking and create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretation. Yes, players or teams keep doing what they have always done on sports field, they will quickly lose a competitive advantage. So they need to adopt new strategies, people management. What modern managers require, employers require, they require the youth who can manage people, who can lead people, who can motivate people, who can inspire people, who can encourage others. Yes, sports provide an opportunity for players to become leaders. All players in a team have opportunity to lead, motivate, and acquire all skills of managing people. The fifth important skill, modern skill required is coordinating with others. Are you able to collaborate with others? You know that in team sports, it is obvious that a successful team learn how to work together to achieve a common goal. Today, modern managers also guide their subordinates to work for the attainment of their personal goal and integrate their personal goal with the organizational goal. And that is learned in the sports. Number 6 is emotional intelligence. Ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions. We know that participation in sports help our youth to recognize, contextualize, learn how to manage different emotions Sometimes they perform high, sometimes they perform low. They may win, they may lose. So they are able to, they manage their emotions, judgment and decision making. Employers need job seekers to make valuable decision making. We know that through playing sport, youth people learn to analyze the situations, to take decisions, to move forward. Number 8 is service orientation. Service orientation. Yes, today I have told you that we are moving from manufacturing sector to service industry. Now within few years, 75% of the GDP will be contributed by the service sector in India. Definitely our people need to fulfill the requirements of the consumers, meet aspirations of the consumers. Service mentality is required. A players definitely will acquire this service orientation. More than that, negotiation. Whether you are able to engage with others to reach an agreement. Sports teaches negotiation, cognitive flexibility, mental abilities to switch between thinking about two different concepts is the need of the hour. Yes, sports is fast moving, involves interpreting multiple cues. Players need to deal with the here and now, but also the sports helps to develop cognitive flexibility. This is not required. Coming to the last point, a study of 2009 made by Bonn Institute, it says that teens who do sports regularly get higher grades. Ernst and Young reported in their survey that of the 75 Fortune 500 companies showed that 95% of them played sports in high school. So sports can contribute to the full and productive employment, and sports-based programs aimed at preparing youth people for the future work. My dear friends, our education system need to meet the expectations of the modern employers by contributing to physical fitness, imbibing team spirit, confidence, exploring interest, and encouraging collaborative activity, which is possible only by encouraging students to go to playground and play, take active participation in athletics and games. My argument is games, sports, or athletics should be part of the curriculum even in the college days, so that we need to make our youth employable. Mere teaching with the chalk piece and duster or blackboard within the four walls of the classroom will not equip our youth. We need to bridge the skill gap. We need to reap the demographic dividend. We need to expedite the process of economic development. With these words, I thank Dr. Pinto sir. Stop it.
Thank you, sir. You're wonderful.
I thank Dr. Pinto sir.
Yeah, Seseppa. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Jay Kumar Shetty. A wonderful informative talk on sports and employability. In developing country like India, the problem of employment is not a problem. but the employability is the problem, what you said. But in modern scenario, if you go for BA, BCom, the skill aided program should be there. Then what about your suggestion about this? Sir, audible?
Should I speak?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Speak,
Yes.
sir.
See, my argument is, even in the studies in foreign countries also show that the students who were active during their school days or college days are
Yeah.
successful managers. So in India, even sports and games should be part of the curriculum. A student may not go to the university level or state level or national level, but he should go to the playground so that he can acquire necessary employable skills, because we cannot imbibe team spirit or collaborative activity among the students within the four walls of the classroom unless and until we provide a congenial atmosphere where they can learn and acquire skills. And I think it is sports and games is the only way where they can acquire modern skills.
Yes, thank you, sir, for your more informative and wonderful speak on sports and employability. With this short of time, I thank Dr. John Pinto giving me an opportunity to be a moderator, and I thank Dr. Tara Rao and coordinator IQAC, Government First Grade College, Kavoor. Once again, I thank Dr. Jaya Kumar, a wonderful delivery. Thank you, sir. Over to John.
Thank you, Mr. Seseppa Gowda, for your moderating, and it's a good session, very informative session. And I also thank Dr. Jaya Shetty, because a couple of days back I asked him to be the resource person of the day, and he has said, "What can I talk with sports?" Then I said, I knew it because he's a sports lover, and it's also a part of any event conducted in the SDM Kuncharia. He'll be there. His presence will be highlighted everywhere during the sports, and he can talk. I knew that he can talk hours together about sports and employability. So thank you very much. You are shared your rich experience with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Let me thank all the participants for all the participation, and thank you very much. And I thank both the speakers and the moderators for their moderating. And I thank all my colleagues, professional friends, and I thank our principal, Dr. Tara Rao, for her support and inspiration. So thank you very much. And also I thank the convener of this webinar, Mr. Kuncharia KK, Assistant Professor of Department of Commerce, Government First Grade College, Kavoor, for his assistance. Thank you once again. I thank you very much. And I request all the participants to fill the feedback form, which is shown in the, given in the link in the chat box. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. John.
ನಾನು ತಕ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ನಿಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ವಾ? ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್